What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to the Jay All Day Show. In today's episode, I'm going to break down the Philadelphia Eagles' entire 2024 schedule and give you my predictions for each and every single one of these games. Last year, the Eagles went 4-2 in the NFC East. I think the NFC East is the division for the Eagles to lose. In my opinion, I think the Eagles will actually be even better than their 4-2 record versus the NFC East last year. These teams just did not get better, in my opinion. Daniel Jones is coming off of that big-time injury. The secondary in New York is absolutely terrible. The Commanders, rookie quarterback, brand new coaching staff, and the Cowboys' offensive line is absolutely terrible. I think the Eagles can easily win this division. Let's see what their record's going to be at the end of the 2024 season. Let's get into it. If you like these kind of NFL breakdowns where I'm going to go through each and every team and predict their record by the end of the 2024 season, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles. In my opinion, they are going to go 11-6 this year and win the NFC East. Let's see how they get there. The first game of the year is against the Green Bay Packers. I think the Eagles have way too many moving parts to win this game. We have a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore and a new defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio in a group that's not very good. It's very young, in my opinion. They lost staples like Fletcher Cox. I just don't know if this Eagles defense is ready to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers that has one of the most athletic wide receiver crews in the entire NFL. Jordan Love and the Packers are going to get the W against the Birds in Week 1. Then we move on to Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins, along with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Their offense is pretty good, but their defense is Bush League, in my opinion. They're just mediocre at best. I like the Eagles to win this game. And then we're going to move on to Week 3, Sunday, September 22nd, a day game versus the New Orleans Saints. It is always tough to play in the Dome in New Orleans, but this team isn't very good. Derek Carr and Olave are not enough to get it done. They have an aging defense mixed in with some young guys that are just not very good. I think the Eagles offense absolutely eats on the road here and beats the New Orleans Saints. And then we move to a tough game, a rematch of the playoffs last year on the road in the humidity in Tampa Bay. I don't like this game for the Eagles. I think they lose this game and move to 2-2. Todd Bowles just has the Eagles' numbers, man. He blitzed the crap out of Jalen Hurts. They were horrible in that playoff game, and I think they're going to it's going to be a closer game, but I think Tampa Bay is going to edge out a win. Then in Week 5, we have the bye. Then we have another really tough game against the Cleveland Browns in Week 6. In my opinion, the Cleveland Browns have a top 3 defense, and they were able to go on that run last year without Nick Chubb, on their 8th string quarterback, Joe Flacco, coming off the couch. They're going to be healthy, and that defense is just getting better and better and better. I think the Browns steal a game from the Eagles late. Then we move on to Week 7. We're going to New York to play the Giants, right? Saquon gets a redemption game and gets a big-time W here. I think Saquon goes off, man. I think he has over 100 yards receiving and 100 yards on the ground. I think he's going to absolutely eat and shred the New York Giants. Then we move on to Week 8. The Cincinnati Bengals did lose their offensive coordinator, who is now the coach of the Tennessee Titans, but Joe Burrow, if he's playing and healthy, I think it's going to spell a lot of trouble for the Eagles secondary, man. Joe Burrow is just, when he's healthy, he's a top 3, top 5 quarterback in this league for sure. Eagles on the road at Cincinnati. I think that's a loss, in my opinion, in Week 8. After that tough loss in Week 8 to Cleveland, the Eagles are going to go on a bit of a run. We're going to get wins in Week 9, 10, and 11 versus the Jaguars, Cowboys, and Commanders. The Jaguars roster is just not very good. They don't have the weapons. They don't have the great defensive players that are going to get in Jalen Hurts' face. I think he has a really good game, a primetime game versus the Jaguars. And then in Week 10 versus the Cowboys at Dallas, this offensive line is going to be young, inexperienced. The tackles aren't very good. We're probably going to have rookies all over the place playing. I think the Eagles' defensive line absolutely eats their lunch. And I'm predicting crazily that the Eagles will go 6-0 versus the division. This hasn't happened in a really long time, but man, the NFC East is probably the worst division in the NFC, in my opinion, talent-wise, and I think that's why they're going to win again in a short week versus the Commanders. A rookie quarterback on a short week, new coaching staff against Vic Fangio. I just don't see them winning. And then, this is going to be a tough game in Week 12. The Eagles have to fly across the country again. I was at the game last year where the Eagles had to fly across the country and play the Rams, and they were able to kick their asses. But I think it's going to be tough sledding to do that again. Flying across the country and playing is always tough. There's some extra days built in playing on a Thursday, so it's not going to be as bad. But I think the Rams eke out a win like 23-20 and beat the Eagles. And then I think the Eagles actually go in a little skid here and they lose again because they got to fly back across the country and play the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. That's a tough ask, man. If they win one of these two games, that would be great for the Eagles. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to lose both of these games. The Baltimore Ravens are probably going to run the ball down the Eagles' throat after they're traveling across the country. I think the Ravens are really going to be like symbiotic by that point. All the new parts are going to be on the same page, and they're going to beat the Eagles in Week 13. In Week 14, this is where the Eagles' schedule really kind of lightens up. They're going to beat the Panthers pretty easily, I think. And then I think they're going to surprise some people and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though that defense in Pittsburgh is really good. That offense, in my opinion, is just going to be completely inept this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing Justin Fields start for Pittsburgh this late in the season. And then we have all three division games, right? 16, 17, and 18. If the Eagles don't have to play their starters in Week 18, maybe they lose a game to the Giants, or they kind of play half-ass against the Cowboys if they're like running away with the division in Week 17. But I think these are all very winnable games. You got that new offense, the new coaching staff, the new quarterback with Washington. They're going to struggle to win games this year. The Cowboys, I think they're going to be decimated. They have like zero depth at the offensive line position. Playing them in Week 17 is great. I just think the Cowboys are going to, if they win 8 games this year, I'll be surprised. And the Giants aren't very good. Daniel Jones is probably going to be hurt again, so God knows who the quarterback's going to be in Week 18 versus the Eagles. The Eagles, January 5th, win again, go 6-0 versus the division, good enough for an 11-6 record and an NFC East title. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think the Eagles' record is going to be in 2024, and can they possibly go 6-0 in the division? I know it's a tall order, but I think they can do it. Leave me some comments in the section below. How do you think this Eagles season is going to go? Are the new coordinators going to work out in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore? Hopefully they do, and Nick Sirianni can keep his job, because if they play this year like the end of last year, Nick Sirianni is going to be gone, and maybe the Bill Belichick era starts in Philadelphia. We'll have to see. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into my content. I appreciate you guys. We're closing in on 5,000 subs, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.